Hi everyone, welcome to another video of Misinterpreted Mondays, where I look at a Bible verse that is either misinterpreted, misquoted, misunderstood, or simply just misused. And today's verse is going to be from 1 Timothy chapter 6. It's going to be verse 10. And it says, "For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evils." Now let's look at the context of this before we proceed any further. So the context of this book is the letter written by Paul to his young co-worker Timothy concerning issues that were arising in the church in Ephesus. The theme of this book is that the gospel leads to practical, visible change in the lives of those who believe it. So let's go back to the verse and see what it has to say, because I'm sure many of you, including myself, I've heard people say money is the root of evil, money is evil. So let's see what the Bible has to say about that. So verse 10 states, "For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evils. It is through this craving that some have wandered away from the faith and pierced themselves with many pangs." In this context, pang, the definition is a sudden feeling of mental or emotional distress. I have the ESV version. In the New King James Version, it uses the word sorrows. Let's break this verse down a little bit to understand it better. So the first thing I want to point out is notice that it doesn't say money, but rather the love of money. It says, "For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil." Well, what happens when we love anything in excess or anything especially above God? It becomes a form of idolatry. We look at the book of Exodus, chapter 20, where the 10 commandments are given. And the first commandment that's given in verse 3, it says, "You shall have no other gods before me." And so when we start to love money more than God or prioritize it more than God, it becomes a sin and it can lead us down a path of destruction. The second thing to point out in this verse is, "For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evils." Well, what are those evils? It could be things like greed, jealousy, anger, lies, theft, murder. I'm sure many of you have heard horror stories about people who won the lottery and found themselves in very poor and tragic situations, whether it was with loved ones or outsiders, because when money is involved, it tends to blind human judgment, and it led to some unfortunate circumstances for many of the people. So money is just one of the things that can lead to other pathways of sin. The third thing to look at here is, it is through this craving that some have wandered away from the faith. Well, anything that leads you away from God, anything that makes you wander away from God, can lead you down a path of destruction. And so it's so important that we keep ourselves in check and analyze our priorities in life to make sure that we're not chasing money, but rather chasing God, and He'll bring us the riches of this world. And the last part of this verse I want to analyze is, it says, "and pierce themselves with many sorrows." Well, one great thing to notice here is that people end up hurting themselves when they have a love of money. If you ever heard those stories of people who, prioritize only work and only attaining wealth, and they sacrifice their family life, their health, in the long run, what they end up regretting is how they made use of their time, and they're the ones who end up having to pay that price ultimately. So it's really important that, especially in today's culture, where we live in a world of the hustle culture and grind culture, that it's important that we understand our priorities. It's not bad to want to attain wealth. It's not bad to want to get money. It's not bad to want to work hard. In fact, it's a biblical discipline that we should continue to work hard. But it's important that we balance it, we keep it in moderation, and we understand that God comes before anything else. Anybody that's watching this, I'd highly encourage you, and it's a reminder for myself as well, that in this day and age, in this world, we need to prioritize righteousness over riches, faith over fortune, and God above everything else. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you.